I was there at my 5th year there because I was a working student. But he was so handsome that time when we met. Even now, until now, he's still handsome though. He's a son of a minister. You know, he was exposed to evangelism before entering grade 1. Always go with his dad. And I'm sure he has an experience when his dad cannot give the Bible study. He took over. But I think he will give us that experience. Graduating in 68, 69, Mountain View College. By the way, he studied at PUC too, and went to Mountain View for 2 years, went back to PUC and came back to Mountain View and graduated from his Bachelor of Science in Biology. He got married in 1971 and 72. He came to the United States. I understand he studied this, just like you, June? Respiratory therapy. And now he's working with, in Loma Linda, what's this? Medical Center, a member of the heart team, because he's in the respiratory group. Well, he has an experience, brothers and sisters, in evangelism. I know he's prepared to say something and represent God's message to us today. We'll give him the time. Pastor, we call him Dominador Tamares, but he is Dominador Tamares Jr.
First time I was exposed to real magic, trick cards, was at Mountain View. And our entertainer was Brother Cero. He was good at it. I don't know, are you still good at it? My wish today is that when we get out of this building, that we will have a better understanding of how great our God is.
Amen.
He's not a tiny little God like the Philistines had, or like the Italians had. They curve. Remember that movie? What was that? I think that was I've forgotten the movie, but they were making their own gods and they put it in their pocket, and when they have a little time, they'll look at it. Our God is not that God. Psalm 19:1 and 2. The heavens declare the glory of God, and the firmament showeth his handiwork. If you want to know how great his God is, all you have to do is go out on maybe a moonless night, when all the stars are there, and look at the heavens. He created them. As a matter of fact, he told Job, can you hold Pleiades in your hand? I breathed that out. Psalm 33 says, by the word of the Lord were the heavens made, and all the starry hosts by the breath of his mouth. Can you imagine being there at creation? I can't imagine myself being there. Can you imagine God saying, let there be light? And light comes out of his mouth at a speed of 186,000 miles per second. Is that correct, you students? You have that in high school, didn't you? Or 186,000 miles per second. That's a lot of speed. That light comes from the sun and hits us over here at Holiday in only 8 minutes. And it covers 93 million miles. That's a lot. In 1 second, that light would have circumscribed the world, our earth, about 7 times. That's how fast it is. So when we talk about God's creation, We do not talk about rulers, about miles, about kilometers, because they will not be effective. We talk about light years. You know what one light year is? Speed of light. Yeah. The distance covered by light in 1 year. And let me do the math for you. You can go home and get your calculator and do this. But 1 light year is the distance of 5.88 trillion miles. How is that? That's quite a lot of distance. And let me just probably review to you how big God is. Let me introduce to you to 4 stars. Number 1 star is our own star. Our own star is about almost 1 million times bigger than the Earth. Okay? If the Earth were a golf ball, you know what a golf ball is? It's this. Can you find yourself there? If the Earth were a golf ball, you can have the sun will be about 15 feet in diameter. Can you imagine the sun 15 feet in diameter? And there will be about 960,000 Earths that you can put in the sun. And if the Earth were a golf ball, there will be enough golf balls to fill a whole school bus. That's the size of the sun. But the sun is a small star. It's just a cul-de-sac in our neighborhood. Our neighborhood is in the cosmos is what we call a Milky Way. That's our galaxy. Okay? The next star I'd like to introduce to you is about 47 light years away. And this is the closest star. For some reason, the name just escapes me. Alpha Centauri? Is it? Okay. And you know how big that is? It is twice the size, not of the sun, but it is twice the size of the orbit of the Earth around the sun. That's how big it is. If the Earth were a golf ball, that star is the height of 6 Empire State Buildings. Have you been to New York? Have you seen Empire State Building?
Yes.
Good. If you haven't, get your family, get a ticket from Los Angeles, from LAX to New York, and get your golf ball. Make sure it's your own golf ball and see where you are over there, and put it at the bottom of that building, and then you walk across the street. Nobody will bother you. In New York, nobody bothers you. They do what they want to do, and you do what you want to do. Go across the street and imagine yourself. Imagine 5 other Empire State Buildings. That's how big that star is. There will be enough golf balls, if the Earth were a golf ball, to fill the Superdome. You know how many times? 3,000 times. That's how big it is. There is another star, which is about 1,000 light years away, I think it is. It's Betelgeuse. Yeah, you can pronounce it Betelgeuse or Betelgeuse. Betelgeuse is better. And that star is so big. If the Earth were a golf ball, the diameter of that star will be the length of the Golden Gate Bridge, twice that. So you take your family, fly to San Francisco, and put your golf ball. Make sure it's your own golf ball. Put it there at one end of the bridge. Cross the bridge. And then imagine another bridge. And that's the size of that. That Betelgeuse is so big that it contains about over 350 trillion Earths. That's how big it is. And the third star that I'd like to introduce to you, it's already 3 or 4. 3. Mu Cephei. Have you heard about Mu Cephei? It's a big star. Very big. And if the Earth were a golf ball, all you got to do is go take your family from San Francisco, get a ticket to Nepal. Because the height, the diameter of that star is about the height of Mount Everest. About 6 miles up in the air, highest point on Earth. And then I challenge you, get your parka, go up there, maybe a chopper or whatever, and then take a look at your golf ball. Throw it there. There will be so many Earths in that place, Mu Cephei. As a matter of fact, there will be, I think you can put 2.5 quadrillion golf balls. You know what a quadrillion is? That's 1,000 trillion. We know what a million is, right? $1 million. A million. A million seconds, you know how long ago that was? About 12 days ago. How about a billion seconds? How long ago was that? Remember, it's 1,000. No. You think it's a few months ago? No. It's about 1977. It's a billion seconds ago. How about a trillion seconds ago? How long ago was that? Maybe Christopher Columbus?
1800.
No. Sorry. It's about 30,700 BC. You know what a quadrillion seconds is? How long ago that was? A quadrillion seconds was about 30,800,000 years ago. Long before we were born. That's how big that is. So we serve a God that is really big. The purpose of me telling you this is to let us realize how small we really are. You know, we are very small. We are very small. My goodness, you know, Voyager was, they let it go in 1977. They launched it in 1977. In 1990, 13 years later, it was about, I think, 4.5 billion miles away from the sun. They instructed it to take pictures. They took a picture of the Earth. And you know what? The Earth was just a dust caught in a sunbeam of light. That's how small it was. And despite that, God loves us so much. Despite of being so small, He loves us so much. He knows that we are dust, but we are honored by majesty. Okay, this is the Whirlpool Galaxy, the darling of astronomy. You know how far away that is? 31 million light years away. So if we can go in the speed of light and go for 31 million years, you will be there. That's how far it is out there. Now where did they put my ticker? Sorry. I have a ticker here that I'm supposed to have. I thought I placed it somewhere and I'm losing it. There it is. This is a very far place. But God lives so far away. And He traveled such distances and gave His life for us in a very, very far away place. He offered Himself there, billions and billions of light years away from home. just to be with us. This is 31 million light years away. You remember Revelations talks about a lamb slain from the foundation of the world? Before Hubble telescope, we haven't seen this, but they saw the core of that, inside that. This is what they saw. There's a black hole over there, and they saw that X structure. Now talking about the Lamb of God slain from the foundation of the world, that's 31 million light years away. How long ago did God plan this? See, God lives outside time according to C.S. Lewis. He lives outside time. And God knows everything. Before sin even entered the mind of Satan, God already prepared something. And he said, I'm going to isolate this. Now this is my theory. Isolate sin from the rest of the universe. Because he lives outside time. He said, I will place it in a petri dish of time and place. When there is time, there's always a beginning, there's always an ending. That's why God lives outside time. Otherwise, he will have a beginning, he will have an end. He doesn't have that. So he lives outside that. And so what did he do? He created the worlds. Because in our world, it's only in our worlds, our stars, our cosmos, where time and place can be measured. Anytime you have light year to measure a space, then that is not what God is. He's beyond that. See how great he is? He's so huge, so big. So everywhere you look in the universe right now, God tells us that he has given us this amazing grace. You know what grace stands for? I thought about this. I think grace is an acronym for God's redemptive and recreative act covering earth. Because grace is only for us on earth. God's redemptive and recreative act covering earth. Now, there will be a time when time will end. And when that ends, that will be an end to sin. I was talking about this with my friends who are theologians. And he said, I think you have brought something new. Because they always talk about a petri dish of place. Like remember when there was a fight in heaven? The devil and his angels were cast into earth. That's a petri dish of place. But the petri dish of time is not in there. The Bible talks about 1,000-year vacation. And that vacation is 1,000 years. But see, there is still time. But you know, when I think of this, it may not even be 1,000 years. Because when the Bible talks about 1,000 years, that means a very long time to us. Nobody on this earth have lived over 1,000 years. Therefore, 1,000 years is a long time. Okay? And when we get there, then we become judges. Remember in Revelations, we become judges. Who will we judge? People have been judged already. But we will for ourselves see how great and how true God is to his word. Why? Because we can see back in time. We're outside time. We can see back in time. This is the time and place where Bill, my Uncle Bill, who was a deacon, a very faithful man, why is he not here in heaven? We will see him in time. What he did. There's Aunt Mary who was a prostitute and she is here. Because we live outside time, we look into time and we see what Aunt Mary did. That's how great God is. As great as he is, if you read Psalm 33, I think 6 and 9, and then you jump a few verses further, this star-breathing God takes a turn and he talks about seeing everybody on earth. like He knows you, He knows me. The hairs of our head are numbered. Well, a full hair is probably about 20,000 hair, you know. Some of us is fewer than that, you know. But at that time, that was a lot. But you know, these days, that there are secrets about our bodies that people didn't know before. Do you know that you have about 75 trillion cells in your body? 75 trillion cells. We were so amazingly made. You know? One cell from your dad, one cell from your mom. You have to give honor to the cell from your dad because it got through a lot of competition to be able to get to that one cell from your mom. And in 3 days, the single cell became 16 cells. And after 9 months, 75 trillion cells. There's a lot of cells. There's a lot of it dying. Every 3 seconds, 50,000 of them die. And it's replaced by another 50,000 cells. And each cell has a DNA. The DNA strand has about 3 billion characters. That makes you different from anybody else. 3 billion characters. If you read 1 character per second, it will take you 96 years reading 1 character a second. It will take you 96 years to read 1 DNA. That's God's law. He knows us very well. And its DNA is about 6 feet when extended. And when you extend all of the DNAs that you have, you will have enough DNAs. You will have enough space to go to the moon and back 178,000 times. That's how fearfully you were made. How you were made. Praise God. So amazing. And you know, whatever you do, maybe you are in despair. Maybe you have marital problems. There might be a divorce looming. There might be a financial problem coming up. Bankruptcy, all this. Let me tell you that God knows all that. He knows all that. Nothing can be hidden from it. And let me tell you why. You should know exactly why God cares for you. If this church knows about it, there will be a revival in this church that will sweep across the nation. And then Jesus will come. Do you want to know what it is? It's a protein molecule that is in your body. What it does, it holds the membranes together. We call it laminin. You know, it's just like a rebar. When you put down the concrete, you have the rebars, right? So it will hold together. That's what it is. You want to see it? This is how it looks like. Laminin, that's how it looks like. Now that reminds me of the text that we just read in Colossians 1, 15 to 17. Let me see if I have it marked here somewhere. Manong Jun's Bible is so big, so heavy, but it's just the right version. He is the image of the invisible God, the firstborn of all creation, for by him all things were created, things in heaven and on earth, visible and invisible, whether thrones or powers or rulers or authorities. All things were created by him and for him. He is before all things, and in him all things hold together. He holds us together. This is amazing grace. How great the find. But you know what? You have to tell other people about this. This is a jewel of great price. You've got to tell the world about it. We don't have enough time. Our time on earth here is limited. We've got to do and to tell the whole world. Let me tell you about a church back in the Philippines. Membership, 80. There are probably 2 or 3 families that have the money. The rest of them live below poverty line. But in faith, they ventured. There was this guy, you probably have heard him, he's David Case. He's a pastor. In South America, he's bought a lot of television stations. That's why the evangelism in South America is is booming because of his television stations. He came to the Philippines. He went to the Philippines and challenged these people. And you know what? They answered the call. They didn't know how television works. They don't even know how to get these cameras, and take pictures. No, they don't. Right now, they have 5 full-time volunteers and 5 part-time volunteers operating their television station. This station airs to all of China, Indonesia, and Southeast Asia. In a few more months, they will cover the 1040 window countries. You know that. A lot of Muslims and all that being covered by this. Our approach to Muslims is different. Christians will have a problem relating to Muslims, but Adventists won't. Because we don't eat pork to start with. And so they did this. And it's amazing because they're both radio and television ministry, both locally and internationally. Their television coverage, I think it covers about 60% of the world's population. Their aim in China is to get the more than 20 million owners of satellite discs. Okay? Because how do you evangelize 2.5 or 3 billion people? Even if you have 10,000 people attending your crusade every night, you have just scratched the surface. But if you have an audience of 20 million people looking at that box, at that tube, say 2 or 3 people watching this. And this is 24/7. 24/7. Their budget, $11,000 a month. Where they got the money, they don't know. They just pray about it. And the blessings come in. In 2008, June of 2008, you probably have heard about that Typhoon Frank that devastated the Visayas. It covered the whole island of Panay. In Iloilo alone, there are over 30,000 homes underwater. That was a devastation. But you know what? A few months later, because our brethren went out to help, they organized themselves. They have relief, operations all over the place. Because the government cannot go to all these barangays. A few months later, these people wanted to know who the Seventh Adventists were. Some of the other denominations came and said, "Oh, we'll give you a Bible study." And they said, "No, we don't know you." So the Adventists were here when we needed them. And so in Iloilo, if you want to give Bible studies, you can give Bible studies from 9 o'clock in the morning to 9 o'clock at night. 7 days a week. That's how we said. The harvest truly is ripe. It's there. It's ready. But the laborers are few. So, what I want you to be able to do is look into your hearts and remember that this evangelism is not only worldwide, but locally in our church, in our neighborhood. We can do it. It can be done. We know that somebody will always hold us in the palm of their hands. You want to see the electronic picture of Lamanan? Lamin, you can Google it. Oh. There it is. It's the cross of Jesus. Lamin. He holds us together. Without Him, we cannot exist. And let me tell you that Filipinos are great at spreading the good news. Have you heard about that story of a barbershop, first-class barbershop, opened in downtown Manhattan? Really nice, state-of-the-art. Everybody came from Vidal Sassoon, the school. And first day, they opened. A florist came in, had a haircut. He was ready to pay at least $100. The owner said, "No, you don't have to pay. It's on us today." Okay, not today, yes, but not today. So he went home. An hour later, a cop came in and had a haircut. Started to pay. "No, it's on us today." An hour later, a Filipino came in. And the same thing, a free haircut. In the afternoon, the florist came back with a dozen long-stemmed roses, because he was a florist. Gave it to him. An hour later, the cop came back, had a dozen donuts. An hour later, a Filipino came back with 12 other Filipinos. We are good at good news, aren't we? Just give it to Filipinos when there is a sale, we know, everybody knows. When the golden pompano is only $2.99, we know about it. When the galonggong is only 79 cents, we know about it. We're good at that. Now, just switch that. There's better news than that. Better news than that. And that's this good news. The cross. The God who holds us together. This is what we should be preaching about. We should be telling people about this. Have I challenged you enough? Man, as soon as I retired, I'm going back there to the Philippines and give Bible studies. Yeah, she was right. I went with my dad when I was little. That was an accident. That was cannot be avoided. Because there were two of us left at home. My other siblings were in school. The two other older, Hartwell and Julian, they were in school. And there was a church school where we were. So they had to go to where my grandpa lived in Negros. And Gwen and I didn't know what it is. We were about the same age. She was about my size. She's probably even taller than me because girls grow a little faster when you are younger, We always fought. So as a remedy, my dad took me. And we will be out 2 weeks giving Bible studies. Not only once a day, but 3 or 4 times a day. And I've heard these verses when I go to Sabbath school. You remember in Sabbath school before, when you come in, you say the memory verse. Okay? Not the memory verse for that day, but any verse you can. It's like kind of a roll call. Each one says a verse, no matter what. And it comes to me, most kids would say, "For God so loved the world," or "Jesus wept," or, "The Lord is my shepherd." Comes to me, and I said, "And Enoch also the seventh from Adam prophesied of this, saying, Behold, he cometh with 10,000 of his saints." And the Sabbath school teacher was, "Where did you get this?" It's June 14th. You look it up. And, I'm not a preacher. I'm a PK, I'm a preacher's kid. This is not my job, but I owe it to the brethren at Western Side Conference because they fed me. I grew up on tithe money. It's like having blue tassels. Every time you make a mistake, man, that's the pastor's kid, always making trouble, because you have that blue tassel with you. And I believe that I owe it to the rest of the world to let them know about this God, the God of creation, the God of redemption, the God of grace. He is such an amazing find.
Amen.